Hello, and welcome to Maritime Memorabilia. This is a new series I'm starting where we take a deep dive into my ocean liner collection, leaving no page unturned. I've been collecting since around 2014, and I normally use sites such as Luxury Liner Row, Purser's Locker, White Star Memories, and of course, eBay. Most of my collection is Cunard White Star, although I do have a few items from other various lines as well. We'll also take a look at those in their own separate episodes, but for now, we're going to be taking a look at the Queen Mary Questions and Answers booklet. This booklet was produced by Cunard a few months prior to Queen Mary's maiden voyage on May 27, 1936. Flipping open the booklet, we get to see our first two comparisons. On the left-hand side, we get to see the Queen Mary compared to the Empire State Building, and on the left-hand side, we get to see the Queen Mary compared to Niagara Falls. Alright, on to facts about the new superliner, Queen Mary. Question: what speed will the Queen Mary make? Answer: the average or best speed of the Queen Mary will not be known until she has entered service. Her builders guarantee she will be fast enough to make the Atlantic crossing between America and England in 4 days. Question: how large is the Queen Mary? Answer: she is a ship of 80,773 gross tons and has a displacement tonnage of 77,500, by far the largest in the world. At launching, she weighed 37,000 tons, or 7,000 tons, more than any other ship launched. She will carry 735 persons in cabin class, or first class, 760 in tourist, or second class, and 580 in third class, with a crew of 1,200. Question: how long is the Queen Mary? Answer: the new superliner is the longest ship ever constructed, 1,004 feet measuring along the waterline. Stood on end to end, the great steamer would reach the 86th story of the Empire State Building in New York. Question: when will the Queen Mary make her maiden voyage? Answer: she is expected to sail Wednesday, May 27th, 1936, from Southampton via Cherbourg on her maiden voyage to New York, arriving on June 1st. Question: when can I sail on the Queen Mary? Answer: applications for the maiden voyage have already exceeded capacity, and many are now applying for accommodations on the second and third voyages. Early application is therefore recommended. Question: how many public rooms will the Queen Mary have? Answer: there will be 25 in all, including a main dining room that will be the largest dining room on any ship. It measures 18,720 square feet in area and accommodates 815 persons. Question: what does the Queen Mary look like? Answer: you can get an excellent idea of what the Queen Mary looks like by viewing the new model on exhibition at the new offices of the Cunard White Star Line at 25 Broadway, New York City. This miniature replica of the Queen Mary is 22 feet long and is the largest steamship model ever made for display use. Amazingly, complete in all details, it took 25 skilled workmen working at top speed 3 months to build this beautiful model, a job that would normally take 7 months. Question: when will I be able to see the Queen Mary? Answer: on her first visit to New York, she will stay in port virtually 5 days, sailing back to England Friday, June 5th. This stopover will be 2 days longer than the big ship will ordinarily make, in order to provide for the various functions celebrating her arrival in New York and the general inspection by the public. Following this initial trip, she will make the regular scheduled sailings from New York and Southampton on alternate Wednesdays. Question: when was the Queen Mary launched? Answer: the superliner slid down the ways September 26, 1934, at Clydebank, Scotland, into the River Clyde, after having been christened by Her Majesty Queen Mary, the first British Queen ever to sponsor a transatlantic liner. Now, before we flip the page, on the right-hand side there, we can see that they're comparing 40 miles of freight cars to the weight of the Queen Mary, And on the left-hand side, we actually get to see that model that they were talking about, and it's got some arrows pointing out some details. The first arrow points to lifeboats that are elevated high above the heads of passengers on sun deck, allowing for vast areas for deck sports and promenading. Then the second arrow points down to the 600-foot sports deck that is partially glass enclosed and includes 3 deck tennis courts. Alright, now on to some other facts about the superliner Queen Mary. On the left-hand side, you can see that she can cross the Atlantic in only 4 days. And on the right-hand side, you can see that she can fit at least 3 locomotives inside one of her funnels. Alright, starting off, we get some dimensions. Her length is 1,018 feet. Her width is 118 feet. The height from her keel to the top of the superstructure is 135 feet. From the keel to the top of the forward funnel is 180 feet. And from the keel to the top of the masthead is 234 feet. The construction of the hull involved the use of nearly 10 million rivets. There are 12 decks. The promenade deck is 750 feet long, equal to the overall length of the famed Mauretania. The new ship is 5 times the length of Britannia, the first Cunarder. The height of the forward funnel is 70 feet from the boat deck and 180 feet from the keel. The other 2 funnels decrease in height. Elliptical in shape, the greatest diameter is 36 feet, and the circumference is about 100 feet. The steel plates in the hull range from 8 to 30 feet in length. The weight of the rudder is 140 tons. There are 2,000 portholes containing 2,500 square feet of glass. The hull contains 37 watertight bulkheads. The refrigerating space totals 60,000 cubic feet. The ship will be driven by single reduction geared turbines operating 4 propellers. Oil fuel will be used. It required the labors of 250,000 people to provide material for and construct the great ship. There are 10 miles of carpet in the new steamer. 24 unsinkable motor lifeboats made of steel, each having a capacity of 145 persons, will safeguard the passengers and crew. There are 200,000 pieces of crockery and 100,000 items of tableware in the kitchens. The engines will develop 200,000 horsepower, the maximum horsepower ever developed in an ocean liner. There are 10,000 electrical fittings containing 30,000 lamps supplying enough light for a city of 100,000 inhabitants. The Queen Mary will be steered by the most modern type of gyro compass. The boilers burn oil fuel, carried in 50 side bunkers. 3,000 feet of piping lead from the bunkers to the furnaces, fed by a total of 200 oil fuel burners. The 4 propellers are the largest ever cast for any ship. Each one weighs 35 tons and has a spread of nearly 20 feet from tip to tip. Cushioned engines, similar to those in use on modern automobiles, but installed on a gigantic scale and with certain obvious modifications, are used in the new superliner. Instead of being riveted directly to the bed plating, the foundations of the engine rooms are sprung, thus eliminating vibrations. Turning the page, we get to see yet another view of that lovely model that they were talking about earlier in the booklet, this time showing off the terraced effect of the decks of the Queen Mary, showing some of the generous amounts of deck space available for deck sports, lounging in deck chairs, promenading, and more. The total deck space amounts to 112,320 square feet, or more than area of 2 1/3 American football fields. Continuing the football trend, we get to see on the opposite page that the total amount of deck space would equal to the ground area within the Yale Bowl, which was a football stadium constructed in 1914 and still stands to this day. Enough about football, back to the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary sticks to the knife-edge type of bow which made the famous Mauretania speed queen of all merchant ships for so many years. The anchors weigh 16 tons each. The hull is protected by a double bottom the entire length of the ship. The sports deck is 600 feet long. No fewer than 6 filling stations have been installed, which makes it possible to fuel the giant vessel in 8 hours. The plumbing pipes of all kinds total a length of 50 miles. A ship-to-shore radio telephone system ensures secret conversations. 24 water boilers of the Yarrow type supply steam to 440 pounds pressure and a temperature of about 700 degrees Fahrenheit to 4 sets of turbines connected through gearing to the shafts carrying the 4 giant propellers. The turbines contain 257,000 blades each, fitted by hand. Special sirens toned to 2 octaves below middle A, a new feature, provide the ship's quote-unquote voice. Although so powerful as to be heard 10 miles away, passengers on board the Queen Mary would barely hear them due to toning arrangement. The propelling machinery, developing 200,000 horsepower, 50,000 horsepower per shaft, is the most powerful on the 7 seas. There are 5 boiler rooms containing 27 enormous boilers. Security is assured by the extensive system of fire protection adopted throughout the vessel. A thorough subdivision of the ship by fireproof bulkheads has been arranged, while an additional safeguard is supplied in a fire detection and extinguishing plant for all non-accessible places. Mail will be handled by electric hoists and special chutes. The letters Queen Mary on the bow of the ship are 2.5 feet high and occupy a space of 55 feet. Did you know? Each anchor would weigh as much as 12 popular priced cars. Also, each lifeboat carries more passengers than did the original Cunard liner Britannia. Every lifeboat is motor-driven and equipped with a wireless system. The main lounge is 3 decks high. It contains a stage and proscenium, the latter 26 feet wide and 22 feet high. It will seat 400. The sun deck contains a veranda grill with a dance floor in the center. A shopping center is a feature of the main hall. 4 lifts will convey passengers from the sports deck to the swimming pool and Turkish and electric baths. There are 21 elevators in all on board. The total weight of the metal hull and machinery exceeds 50,000 tons. The company's first steamer, Britannia, would fit in the main dining saloon of the Queen Mary. Between 2 and 3 acres of space are devoted to promenade decks and sports arenas. When the occasion calls, it is possible for the ship to arrive in port, disembark passengers, restore, refuel, embark passengers, and proceed on her next voyage inside of 12 hours. The steering gear is the largest ever installed on any ocean liner. Gear cases weighing 200 tons have been fitted to the 1,000th part of an inch. With the exception of the means of propulsion, the new superliner is to all intents and purposes an electric ship. Also, you may use the deferred payment plan, an exclusive Cunard White Star feature, not applicable in Canada. And finally, flipping to the back cover of the booklet, we get to see the human side of the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary is fitted with the latest improvements in marine engineering and interior appointments, all of which endow her with vast size and speed, with gracious luxury. But she must have much more than that. In line with century-old traditions of Cunard White Star, the Queen Mary relies on a staff trained for generations in the art of smoothing your way, anticipating your every need, and making your voyage a thoroughly enjoyable travel experience. The Queen Mary makes her maiden voyage on May 27th from Southampton to New York, returning from New York on June 5th. Subsequent dates from New York are June 24th, July 8th, July 29th, August 12th, August 26th, September 9th, September 23rd, October 7th, October 21st, November 4th, November 18th, December 2nd, and December 16th to Cherbourg and Southampton. See your local agent. Cunard White Star, 25 Broadway and 638 Fifth Avenue, New York. Printed in the USA, June 1st, 1936. And there we have it, questions and answers about the new superliner, Queen Mary. Well, I hope you guys found that interesting. Leave a like if you did. We'll have more of these coming out in the future, so if you like ocean liner memorabilia and artifacts, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. There's this one I want to do where we compare deck plans of the Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Mary, but I still gotta figure out how I'm gonna film that one. A lot of deck plans, a lot of table space, a lot of cameras. Anyways, if you've seen my Queen Mary Cabin A123 video, I have some memorabilia towards the end of that tour. In the next episode, we'll actually feature some of those items. Leave a comment down below and guess which one it might be. Until then, have an awesome day, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for future episodes.